And welcome back to another fantasy video with me, JD. You're joining me for the round 21 review where fantasy has just opened up and we're reviewing it in real time. We're going to look at some trades in real time. So we scored a 24-62, which was looking pretty good until that final game, and definitely saw some big scores out of Marshall, Sinclair, um, Steele even scored all right, I want to say. So that gave up some points. Dunkley having a poor one probably helped a lot. I had a really good midfield this week. But yeah, like overall, pretty good week. Could have been a bit better. I think most frustrating thing is obviously having stuffed around with the Rucks and not having Marshall these last few weeks has been painful. Getting Gorn in just to see him, get injured and then trade him out and he's actually scoring good again. All of that has been a disaster. Thank God for Xerri. I feel like I should just only discuss Xerri because what a guy. What a guy. Um, and then in defense, my trades last week? Oh, if I scroll down, no, why aren't they here? Why isn't? Oh, is it because I don't know why they're not here. But I do remember what they were. It was Frazier down to Maxwell, just 200k loophole. And then we pulled in Richards for Young, which ended up not being a particularly great move. Lost some points there. So hopefully Richards can make this up over the next couple of weeks. Young looked very good, though, very good, especially given like Sarong wasn't firing particularly well. Okay, so yeah, so look, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 weeks ago we had the triple out, and that's just like frustrating now because a lot of these trade targets that I've been preaching, such as Newman, came home to roost this week. So not being on his 140 after being an advocate is a shame. Having to do stuff like free up money just so I can get Marshall for his ridiculous run for the last three has been a shame. But here we are. Simpkin, I think, has one more week left in him, and then he has to be moved on. So I'm at this point, I'm getting a little bit conscious about what moves have to be made, and I'm hoping that no injuries occur, obviously, so I can actually be able to make them, and then make sure I've got the cash to make them happen as well. So I know Simkin has to go probably after this week, so I've got to start looking at options for him. Peatling was obviously a very good one this week, so shout out to George who was being hot on him, but I don't know if I could jump on him there. Yeah, Newman in defense is one that I was keen on. Sinclair probably makes sense for the last run as well. Richards was a bit of a target just because of his price in these next couple of games, but he had a good game on the weekend and didn't produce, so that is quite disappointing. And I vice captained the wrong dog out of the two of them, and took it when I don't know. I think I would have gone Xerri over Sheasel with Graham in, so I probably missed out on some points there. But I think you just have to play it safe. Yeah, Whitfield obviously had another good week as well. It's actually making it quite hard to do fantasy thumbnails because I just feel like it's some combination of like Xerri and Whitfield almost every week at the moment. I'm gonna have to pick out something else to do. Um, Bont had a good one, but I did the super coach. I mean, these are round 21 dilemmas, guys. This is what we're weighing up here. So then just quickly in defense. So yeah, I mean, like Whitfield, good. Sheasel still good. Martin, I thought he'd score better, honestly, with Ridley out. And so that one's a little bit perplexing, a little bit disappointing. McKercher looked decent. Probably had more bench time that I would have liked, but the matchup continues to be good. So interested in holding him again as long as he's fit. Although, there's a chance he's just straight out with foot soreness again. And Stewart's been good as well. So realistically, like if I could just wave my wand, what would I change? Um, I would still get like Sinclair and Newman in for probably like Martin and one of McKercher or Richards. That's probably what I'd look at doing. That's where I feel like I'm missing the most. Um, Everyone else like Young, Clark, Ryan, um, in Miller, like I feel like you can jump off all those. Although I think the Saints have Hawks, Tigers this week, which should be right. I think the rest of the Saints run's good. Dacos, yeah, I should get tagged this week. Although I should have got tagged last 2 weeks, and for some reason hasn't been. So I'm not really sure what teams are seeing that I'm not, because he does seem like Pie's biggest hope to actually win games. But hey, I mean, Carlton did it, and it turned out real well for them. Midfield this week was good, and that's probably where I've been doing a lot of my trades, to be perfectly honest. Like we got in Trelaw, we got in Brayshaw, we got in Goulden after the bye. So that's nice to see. I think like in terms of where I'd want to jump off players, it's LG once again after this week. So we got West Coast, and then Dogs and Hawks finish last. So I probably don't want to be on these guys. So those two, I mean, they're not going to get attention, but just think the scoring can drop off. In terms of mids that I would like, I mean, it's a bit hard to say Dunkley after the game that he just had. But yeah, Dunkley'd still be up there. There's got to be players that have cracked runs on the way home run. I'll actually have to have a stop and have a look because if I do want to jump off LD, I've got to figure out who that's going to be. Walsh had he's nice, the first nice game in a while, but against the Pies, it's probably not too surprising. Last few games are all right, but I don't think I'm looking there. I think Led played a little bit more half back and scored okay. I still don't trust him. I don't want to be on LDU, but I'm looking at these other players, and there's not anyone I really trust a ton. Ooh, what does Tigers run look like? Because Taranto's always a sneaky option. He could go all right in those three. Don't mind that. I think I know Paris went well on Supercoach. Yeah, just so on fantasy. Run's not particularly good. Jumping off merit's definitely a consideration for those that are looking to go pod. Okay. Yeah, midfield actually, like the depth of the position, maybe I'm just not seeing things. It just doesn't look particularly great. Like I'm not, even though like I'm not enamored with Rosie or LDU. Like is like a Green, a Walsh, um, a Laird really that much better? I think Dunkley is, and Neil is, as long as he's not going to get tagged, but should get tagged this week. Maybe the last two games Neil won't be. Pies and Don. So yeah, maybe I could consider Neil then as a well, but he's like super expensive. So in the rucks, yeah, like I think you got to have Xerri and Marshall. Sherry's got Eagles this week, then English, and then Meek. So I think I could go well. He's back 150s. He's not going to go 150 again, right? Like actually shouldn't be possible. I think that's just straight up illegal to do 3 150s in a row as a ruck in fantasy, but hope I'm wrong. And then the forward line, yeah. So I think I've got the top five here, but Heaney's been a bit lackluster. And then this six, I'm not like losing sleep over. So while I do want to get out of Simpkin, it's not really obvious who it would be for because Fisher hasn't come back. Rankin's obviously been suspended. I wonder if that gets lifted this week. I think it might be. I think he's back for these last three. So you got to see how he goes against the Dogs this week if he's back, and then decide if you want to pick him up into these last two. It's just hard because Port have been in good form and Swans one of the better sides. It's not exactly a great run home to finish. And then yeah, once again, no one that I really like. So if Shrek goes down, you could look at LJ. Otherwise, we're going to be start looking at key position forwards and jumping on fixtures that make sense for them. If Cogs, turns out he's not coming back this year, then Peatling obviously makes a lot of sense as well. Depending on what GWS's fixture is, but I have a good feeling it's not particularly fun. Yeah, I mean Lions, Freo, and Dogs, three very hard games to finish the year. So yeah, that was the team. It went well. Well, like we had a good week. But yeah, a couple things weren't right. But and the whole idea with trades is so that this week we can get rid of Darcy Cameron in one move, and bring in Marshall, bring him back, which you hate to see, but at least I'm not going to get killed by him anymore. So yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Actually, we should hit the old price sort because don't want the bad juju. I still got 100k, which is good. Because I mean Newman is the player that I've been eyeing off. It's just I've already missed a really big score. Hawks is not like the amazing matchup. It was Pies, and it's probably Eagles and Saints. So like, is this Hawks one? Like, I feel like that is the Hawks game is the one that it could like drop a poor one into. What do the Saints have this week? Richmond's. I mean, that kind of makes me want to go Sinclair this week and then go Newman the week after if I could. Geelong the week after should be all right. Blues last one's hard, and I feel like he's primed for a Sincotta tag. Primed. Can always jump off him by then. What's the last one? That's the Saints one. It's probably one I really want for new one. So I could jump on Sinclair now and then jump to Newman at the end. That probably makes sense. As I talked about, like this F6, like having a loop option with Simpkin would be nice, but I'm happy for it just to be like Dowling or one of these GWS boys. They score right? How'd they go? McMuffin 65 and Harvey did not have a good game. That's a shame. He seems to be a bit spiky. What was Logan in the end? Because I think everyone in Port scored well apart from him, 54. Oh, Houston junk. That was just disgusting. Okay, so let's assume that McKerch is playing. That means if I want to get one of these two, it can't be. It could be Richards if it's to Newman. Otherwise, it's probably Martin if I want to get Sinclair. Let's have a look at these next two. So Suns at home. This could be good, but honestly, I'm looking at Nick Martin's stretch of games here, and well, we've had 140 since post buy, I think, and then like Swans, Lions last two. I mean, I think it's probably just time for Nick to go. That's sad. I did not expect to see myself trading him out. So I think last three is it Sinclair? It's Sinclair. Oh, Matty Roberts has gone huge. That's right. People will be looking at that. I still wouldn't. I'd get real options. All right, so we go Sinclair in, make the trade, confirm the offer. I can't believe I'm trading two Saints in. Just dreadful viewing. But hey, the team looks pretty nice, and that's at the end of the day, isn't it what it's all about? So we'll just set it up, just so everyone's on the field, just so we can get a little bit of a looky at that. Vice captain this week. I mean, it feels like it feels like Xerri against BJ into Marshall against Nank. Like this just seems to make too much sense. Other options we could look at. So Goulden against the Pies on Friday night. I feel like that feels like a reasonable vice captain option. The Dogs have the Crows to finish off the round, so I don't mind like a Trelaw or a Bonsi to kind of anchor your side if you don't have the two rucks. Merritt against Gold Coast away from home should be all right there with they're not being side that tags, and I think Freo have the Geelong midfield if I remember correctly, and so I don't mind that as VEC option there. But Cherry into Marshall seems like that would be very popular this week. Very popular. If you got Dunkley, I guess you could consider him against GWS, but I'm happy not to be in that matchup. Walsh, I wouldn't look at against Hawks. Sorry, just having a quick look at the bottom here. Try like this scheduling always does me wrong. I need to make sure that these two don't play at the same time. Sorry, Cherry and they don't. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I mean, I think I'm probably just lining up this. Passing on Goulden VC always feels bad though, especially against a side which I assume is a plus matchup, because Goulden ceiling is as good as basically anyone's in the game. And I'm not really sure how I feel about these two backing up these big scores again and again and again. But I mean, 150, 118, 135, 131 last four for Marshall. Yeah, not owning him, like disaster. Disaster. Because of what I traded out to Gorn at some point. Gorn put in 70s and an injury. And then I've had Cameron for two games, which has been all right. It's like only lost 40 points, and Cameron would have made some money, and it helped facilitate some other trades. It's a bit frustrating. So, I mean, I think this is pretty straightforward for me. Cameron and Martin out for Marshall and Sinclair. If you see something else you like, let me know. And then how can I set up the side this week? So I can still loop McKercher with um, uh, Evans, which I think will do again, just because he's the one probably with the biggest injury risk. I mean, I could like loop Evans with Richards, but I think we'll just hold the faith there on that one. And then your Dowling plays last game, so if I want to loop him, I probably need to chuck someone in earlier. Who could that be? I mean, LGU's been pretty disappointing, but he's been consistent at least. Like, I mean, he dropped this 67 against the Dogs, but otherwise, like, yeah, a 98. I'm not gonna like put Dowling on for a 98. So it could be someone that's like a hard tag risk or an injury risk instead. And plays before the Tigers. Tigers play near last game. So, it could be one of the Port boys, but I don't think they're in much trouble against Deegs unless we hear talk that Butters is going to get tagged. So maybe I just don't stuff around with this, or it's like LDU or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, maybe it just makes more sense to use it in the forward line where I probably have more faith putting Dowling on the field than any of the GWS boys. But what we can do instead is, I mean, he had a 46 though, and they got the Dogs, which isn't a good matchup. So, GWS against the Lions. What are we doing here? We're probably like putting Thomas on or something like that. Because they play early, like the first Saturday game. Oh, I mean, they can't loop them with Simpkin because they play at the same time. So what we actually have to do is this. So Simpkin plays first, then we can move Max. Well, we can put Dowling on if Simpkins score is poor, and then just Harvey Thomas can be straight, or McMullen, one of the two. Actually, can't be McMullen, so Harvey Thomas can just be straight mid cover. All right, we sorted it out. We're done. We're the best. Woohoo! Go me. All right, so that's the team this week. That's how we're lining up. That's the trades, and I've discussed some of the targets which you should be considering too. If you've got any questions below, you feel free to hit me up as always. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.